This will probably be one of the most important videos that I make this year, so make sure to watch till the end. Looking at crypto bubbles, you can see the entire market is very, very red right now. The past week, basically all of your altcoins have gone down 10, 20, 30%. You can see Bitcoin is down. The daily chart does look kind of promising for altcoins because we are having that bounce up from the Bitcoin lows that we had hit just this morning. This morning, Bitcoin hit around 56K, and right now we're bouncing back to about 58K. But in my opinion, this dip is not over yet. I do believe we still have some more red days to go. So just looking at the state of the market in the past week and the past month, you can see we are not doing too well, right? We do have some winners, right? We have some coins that maybe haven't dropped as much. If you look in the top 200 and the top 300, you can see it's the same story, right? Most of these altcoins are in the red. You do see, however, there are some altcoins that are doing well, such as Arcblock, a coin that I talk about a lot on my channel. You can see this coin is actually doing very well over the past day, past month, past week, past year. Even with all of these dips in the market, Arcblock is actually holding up very, very well. So that's something that's really good to see. You definitely want to see those altcoins that are doing well despite the market conditions. Those are likely going to be the winners in the bull run. You can see same thing with PAL AI. I actually might do a video on PAL AI. I might do a video on my top AI coins. So if you guys want to see a video on that, then please let me know. But this coin is also doing relatively well. It's had that dip, but overall, there are some coins that are doing well, but most coins are in the red massively. Many people are fearful right now, right? If you just look at the comments of my last video where I talk about why Aerodrome was crashing, you can see there's kind of two types of people, right? There's people that are seeing this as a buying opportunity, right? Seeing this as a dip to get into Aerodrome, especially when it hits, you know, maybe 80 cents, even 70 cents, right? I think that's a fantastic buying opportunity. But there's also a lot of people, there's even some people that actually are selling right now. I actually saw multiple people that were actually saying that they were selling Aerodrome right now. Right now, after it's dipped, 60%, they were selling Aerodrome. If you were going to sell Aerodrome in the first place, why would you sell right now when it's down 60% from all-time highs versus selling when it was at $2.50 if you really needed that money, right? Human psychology tells us that whenever things are in the red, whenever everyone is scared, right, we need to get out. We need to get out of the market, you know, protect our savings. That is what human psychology tells us, but that is the exact opposite of how you need to treat the cryptocurrency market, right? You want to be able to be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. You need to absolutely be diligent in pushing that mindset on yourself because you cannot sell when we're in the midst of a bull run, right? This isn't a bear market. We're in a bull market still, but we are correcting right now. We're experiencing a correction, a pretty big correction, albeit, but still a correction nonetheless. In a bear market, yes, you need to be more fearful than you should, right? But in a bull market, these are corrections, right? You don't necessarily need to buy the dip every single time. I'm not telling you to pour every single ounce of money you have into these projects, right? Even though some of these are very good projects that will go up, right? You don't need to buy the dip, but you need to be able to have enough conviction to hold through these volatile times. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're seeing people differentiate themselves, right? People that have conviction and people that don't have conviction. And only one of these two types of people can actually do well and make money in the crypto bull run, right? You want to be that person that has conviction. The secret to doing well in the crypto bull run is also keeping up with the macroeconomic trends, right? Economics might not be for everyone, but it's extremely important to know at least the fundamentals in this cycle. And this video, I'll touch a little bit upon what I mean by that. So one of the most important entities in the economic landscape is going to be the Federal Reserve, right? Or the Fed. Today, they're having a rate decision meeting, basically a decision to either cut rates or keep the rates as they are. And this is an extremely important meeting because rate cuts are one of the deciding factors on whether or not the stock market will go up or down. That's just putting it in layman's terms, in simple terms. And looking at what this meeting is, right? A lot of people earlier predicted that the Fed would cut its interest rates during this meeting on May 1st, but the Fed actually is very likely to not cut rates until later on in 2024. So they're not going to cut rates until maybe November, December of 2024. Now, what does that mean for the stock market as a whole and cryptocurrency as a whole? I'm going to try to keep this explanation as simple as possible for those of you that don't really understand economics that well, but looking at what the Fed does, right, when it cuts interest rates. Basically, when it cuts interest rates, what happens is businesses and consumers, they increase their spending because of the increased borrowing power, and this causes earnings of companies to rise and therefore stock prices to rise as well. And for Wall Street, right, for the hedge funds and the proprietary trading firms out there, this lowers the borrowing costs because a lot of these firms, they actually borrow money in order to trade, and this lowers those borrowing costs. So they're able to actually buy more assets and pump up a lot of these stocks. And in our case, cryptocurrency, right? You see crypto pump, you see stocks pump when the Fed cuts interest rates. You know, we see the entire market pump. Now, what happens when there's no interest rate cuts? Businesses and consumers, they cut back on spending. This causes a lot of company profits to fall and company stocks to go down as well. And you see that Wall Street, their borrowing costs rise. So that means a lot of stocks will drop. And what happened in the past few months, right, when we saw an astronomical rise in the price of stocks as well as crypto, it was because this Fed interest rate cut was already priced in. So a lot of people were predicting that the Fed would cut interest rates in around the springtime, right? So maybe March, April, May. But that does not seem to be the case for this bull run, right? It seems like the Fed is going to wait until maybe late 2024, so maybe around December or November, in order to cut rates. So basically, this pricing in of Federal Reserve cutting rates is not going to happen. So that means we are basically transitioning into kind of this prediction and everything that's going to happen with no interest rates being cut. Just so everyone is aware, this is not good for Bitcoin, at least in the short term, right? That means that we're going to see volatility. We're going to see a lot of selling, especially of ETFs. If you look at the Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows for every single day, you can see today, March 1st, or actually on April 30th, yesterday, we saw massive outflows, right? We saw outflow. We saw an inflow right here, outflow. We saw a total of 161 Bitcoin outflow, which means that all of these large institutions are selling their Bitcoin ETFs. There's more outflows and inflows. Of course, the Bitcoin price will go down because of that. And when you combine this no interest rate cut with the fact that there's a lot of political instability right now, there's high interest rates currently, and the fact that Bitcoin does need a cool off according to the charts, which I will analyze in a second, that means that Bitcoin is not looking good in the short term, not the long term, in the short term, as in a couple of months, maybe anywhere from 2 to 5 months, right? I expect a cool off in the markets. And what does this mean for your altcoins, right? That means your altcoins will cool off, potentially even drop further than Bitcoin itself, right? Whenever Bitcoin drops 10%, your altcoins drop 20 to 30%. That's just how the market works. So here is the Bitcoin chart on the daily, and I have a few very, very important lines drawn right here. So you can see this light blue line right here is going to be a support zone that we've held since this recent or past all-time high, and you can see we've actually broken this zone or this support line, and we've broken to the downside. So that means we are definitely in a downward trend, and what's going to happen in the short term is we are going to likely touch one of these two lines. So this green line is the 200-day moving average. You can see right now we are most likely heading towards that 200-day moving average. Right now it's at around 52, 53K, and it's also right in line with this support zone right here. So let me just draw that support zone. So here's the support zone, basically from about 51K to about 53K. And this exponential moving average of the 200-day is going to be touching that support zone, and I believe the price is going to be touching there as well. And if Bitcoin does not bottom out there, there's another average, another support line that I'm looking at, and that's this blue line right here. We've actually held this support line since basically 2018. So you can see 2018, we've held the support line, and whenever we break this support line to the downwards, right, we go down, and then whenever we top off, we touch the support line as well right here. As you can see, in 2019. And whenever we break the support line in the bull run, we go way past it. And whenever we're in the bull run, but we go downwards, we touch the support line and bounce off. And then when we're in a bear market, we break the support line and go much further down. So I believe since we're in a bull market, we are going to touch this support line and bounce off of it, which will most likely happen in my opinion. Looking at the chart, what's that going to look like? Well, most likely we're going to keep going down and then eventually touch the support line maybe around that 50K, 51K range, and then bounce off of it and then continue upwards eventually. This very similar thing actually happened in 2021. Remember when we had that massive pump of BTC all the way up to about 64K, and then we had a massive downwards movement, and we actually touched the support line 2 times, as you can see right here, and both times we bounced off, and then we eventually made new highs once again. I believe it's a pretty similar thing this time. I believe we are going to bounce off eventually and make another move up. So of course we could also just end up bouncing off the support zone, which could very well happen, but I think there's probably going to be a liquidity grab somewhere, and we're actually going to go below this support zone and then bounce off this blue line instead, which I think will happen. And you have to keep in mind, right, if that does happen, then maybe your altcoins will go lower. Although I do think a lot of this price action recently has already been priced in for altcoins, but at the end of the day, no one knows, right? What if Aerodrome goes down another 20 to 30%, right? Are you still going to be holding? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself if you're getting into the crypto space for the first time, right? You need to be able to withstand and hold through these times of massive volatility, right? For normal investors in the stock market, right, this is something that they do not experience at all, right? But in the crypto market, this is something that's very normal. So you have to kind of train your mind. If you've been in stocks or been in other assets that are less risky than cryptocurrency, then you know, volatility is not something that you really enjoy. But in the crypto market, it is something that is inherent, right? It's going to be, no matter which asset you buy, no matter which cryptocurrency you buy, you're going to experience volatility at some point. And right now we are experiencing that volatility in a bull run. Once again, I show this chart in every single one of my videos. You can see these are the past 3 halvings we've had. After pretty much these last 2 halvings that we've had a massive dip right afterwards, and this is exactly what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin. We're seeing a dip down back into that 50K range. And yeah, I believe this volatility is basically, it's already been predicted in the past 2 bull runs, right? This happens every single time, and people always panic. I'm just making this video for you guys to have peace of mind, to learn some new information, and hopefully have some conviction for this next stretch that we're going to have, which will be very volatile. That's gonna be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.